Now it's time for the power play break.
It's the place to talk about pucks.
Back here on the power play break with Jim Dowd. Jim, we talked in the first segment about your high school career. Talk about the selection process and how you wound up at Lake Superior State when you finished high school here in New Jersey.
Well, it wasn't much of a selection process. That's the only school that offered me, a scholarship. I mean, even doing what I did, people were still hesitant about, giving me a shot. And Frank Anzalone, who built the program at Lake Superior, was a Brooklyn guy from New York. He was always looking for kids out east, but anybody who was any good from the East Coast, went to BC, BU, Northeastern, all those schools, Maine or whatever. And he flew me out there. I got stuck in Detroit airport for about 6 hours of a snowstorm because you got to fly from Newark to Detroit and then take a little puddle jumper, about a 12-seater up to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
On the Northern Peninsula.
Yep,
So
yep.
it's.
I finally got up there, and I'm like, snowstorm, blizzard, but I didn't care. I'm like, this place is great. I love it. And did my recruiting trip, and he said he wanted to offer me a scholarship. And come back home, and then I just said, yeah, I want to go there. I couldn't believe how it happened. I was so fired up, so excited about the whole thing, and I was like just excited because we got free sticks. I said, we get free sticks? This is great. I'll come here.
Talk about now the difference going from being a high school player where you're the big fish in a small pond. Now everyone makes that leap to college, and everybody, when you get to college, was first team this, the captain of this, all-state, everything. Everybody is an award winner. So the sports pyramid dramatically shrinks in college. Talk about what an adjustment that was for you freshman year.
It's funny you ask because a lot of people ask, what was your biggest adjustment coming from New Jersey high school hockey to Lake Superior, with nothing in between there? The biggest difference was the skating was no problem, the hitting was no problem, the goalies. I didn't score my first goal till I think 12 games into the season. But I had tons of chances, tons of breakaways. I was getting assists left and right, but I had to figure out the goalies were a lot better. Back home, I come in on a breakaway, fake forehand, deep backhand, put it in on the ice. There, I had to learn to shoot from further out and make your move, quicker, do things quicker. And that was the biggest adjustment. Other than that, everything was no problem at all.
Talk about academically as well as athletically, the juggling. It gets a lot more demanding in the collegiate level. Talk about what you guys had to go through, learning how to balance the school time along with the hockey time.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I was a little nervous going out to college, not knowing what to expect. But Frank Anzalone, we had a great coaching staff. Frank Anzalone, who won the Coach of the Year that year. Jeff Jackson was our assistant coach, and Jim Rock was our other assistant. But Frank Anzalone and those guys, the coaching staff, they made us go to school. It was a small school anyway. It was only 2,800 students, up in Sault Ste. Marie there. But it was the best thing for us. The best thing for myself personally, actually. It was a small school. They made us go to class. They stayed on top of you. So, they did things the right way there.
What was end of freshman year comes along, and talk about coming into sophomore year? You guys had the run. You had that incredible run where you won all those games in a row. You didn't lose.
No, that was my senior year.
Okay.
Freshman year was 1987-88. We surprised everybody, and we ended up winning a national championship that year. We beat St. Lawrence in double overtime in Lake Placid. And then sophomore year, a great run again. Lost in the quarters to Harvard. Junior year, I think we lost to Colgate. And then senior year, we had that run where we went 28 straight games without a loss. And it was devastating. And then we lost in the quarterfinals again. But my 4 years there, I think the worst we were ranked were number 4 in the country.
And also, I'd like you to touch on too some of the other players you played with. It was a tremendous hockey program back at that time. You had a lot of big names that came out of there. Discuss a little bit about some of the guys that were with you.
Yeah, my freshman year, like I said, we won the national championship. Mark Vermette, he was a junior at the time. He scored 45 goals that year. Unreal. He signed with Quebec that season. We had Dan Kesmer who came out of there. Cord Cernich. Jeff Jablonski, Pete Stauber. That was my freshman year. But after that, then we started getting the blue chip recruits. We got Doug Waite my junior year, and he was the first blue chip recruit we ever got. And it was great because he made our whole team better and actually, helped myself out personally, having a guy like that. Because anybody who was that good, he was from Michigan, they went to Michigan State or,
University of Michigan, yeah.
So, they were getting blue-collar players up there, and the coaching staff just turned us into a group, an amazing group of players, individually and collectively together. But that started when Doug Waite came in, and then Brian Ralston came in there, and I mean, the list goes on and on. But they built the program. If you've ever been up to Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, it's a beautiful place. I love it. But you're competing against Michigan State, University of Michigan, Ohio State University. These schools. You go on a recruiting trip up to the Sioux where it's a blizzard. 2,800 students. And nothing against it because I loved it.
Yeah.
But then you go down and you take a recruiting visit to Michigan State or the University of Michigan. I mean, where are you going to go most of the time? So they did a great job of handling everybody and the way it all worked out for all of us. But, like I said, Doug Wade and Brian Ralston were probably the two blue chip recruits highest rated in the country at the time.
And what did playing collegiately do for you development-wise? You talked earlier in our first segment about high school, sticking around New Jersey, and Dave Conti saying to you from the Devils, saying how important it was for you to stick around and get better. Talk about, junior year, you were thinking of leaving school to come to the NHL, but you decided to go back because you felt it would help the development of your game. Talk about, what growth goes through a player in college.
Well, it was a combination of things. I was drafted my senior year of high school in 1987 in June there, and I had committed to go to Lake State for 4 years. And then after my junior year, they wanted me to sign. I had a couple options. I could have signed pro, but the Devils were loaded at the time. I mean, they had guys like Kevin Todd and Neil Brady in the minors who were centers scoring, 100 points, and they couldn't get a sniff up in the NHL. And I loved school, frankly. And, the option was I could sign pro. I'd most likely be sent to the minors, or I can go back to school, finish out my senior year, graduate, get my degree, be on one of the best teams in the country, be one of the best players in the country. And it all worked out. I went back, had a great season, the team, myself personally, I graduated, and ended up signing for more money anyway. So, and I still ended up in the minors after that. So there really was no rush.
And just talk about also, too, the influence, Coach Anzalone had on you. I mean, a lot of guys talk about, this person or that person had a great influence. But talk a little bit about, his influence on you as a player and as a person, what he did for you.
Yeah, more so just overall as a person in general. I mean, he was the type of guy, he was almost honest to a fault. But you're going to do things the right way. And like I said, he was the one that gave me my shot. And the old adage, or the old saying, you just need one person to like you. Literally, Frank Anzalone was the only one in the country that took a shot on me, and it worked out. And he, made sure that I worked out. I mean, I never touched a weight until I went to Lake State University. And he taught me about eating right and lifting weights and staying in shape, stuff away from the rink, off the ice, and as well as the school part of it, making sure you do get your ducks in a row. When everything's in order, hockey will take care of itself. And it was so true. But he's one of the biggest influences on my life.
When we get back, we're going to touch on Jim's transition from the college game to the AHL and the NHL.